Hey guys, this is KSFX back once again with the PvE video this time. This is going to be a PvE tips and tricks video brought to you on the Altar of Infinity here. So, first thing I want to cover, a big topic for launchers in PvE is pretty much how do I get enough mana to survive the entire dungeon. I mean, MP goes pretty quick, so a lot of people want to know how do I conserve some of my mana, but not, stop fighting. To do this, a lot of people go heavy firearm mastery, which I actually disapprove of. I haven't actually found a case where endgame you've needed it, so it's about 200 SP that you just will never get back again. Potions cost gold at the very worst, but here I'll give you some tactics to go ahead and make that go a lot farther. Now you can see right here I'm using mostly X attacks, nothing else. Taking very little damage. If I do take damage, it's because I didn't backstep. Using X attacks allows you to backstep out of danger pretty much constantly. And as you can see from these 1 or 2 enemies, it's really useful for dealing with small numbers of enemies. Now when we get into the larger enemies, or maybe just the more frightening enemies, the ones you don't want to be, able to do anything for a while, you can go ahead and cancel a Rising Shot in there. That is one of the best things it's there for. It does a ton of damage. These guys are too weak to actually have it happen. But maybe I can catch this, I'll get this bigger one in a second here. He's getting ready to jump, so I'll have to do this. But when you catch him in it... Come on, you little jerk. Get off. These guys are rather annoying, aren't they? Anyways, there you go. See how long it takes him to hit the ground. He bounces twice. That is always the case. And this guy even has, like, fast get-up. And don't be afraid to use a barbecue. You're not as suited as other classes, but you are wearing heavy armor. So you have a lot of health, even if you don't have the CC skills. And at any time you can cancel in a stare or any other sub-weapon you feel appropriate. These guys cause massive bleed. I think I'm too high level for them to affect me. But let's say you just don't want to deal with them. Well, then you resort to your sub-weapons, because if they grab you and, bleed half your health, that won't be worth it at all. So getting into that, we might be getting into the territory here where we might have enough enemies with enough health, I think we do, for me to start using my good weapons. So let's talk about sub-weapon cycle. Now a sub-weapon cycle is simply a cycle of cooldowns, that's my little nickname for it, where each cooldown just gets you ready for the next cooldown. So it's basically a way to attack forever. Obviously this is important. We're going to be burning through a lot of MP on bigger bosses and stuff like that. So the main one is the catalyst here. I like to use Stare into Gatling. I suppose before I get further in this, I'll go ahead and talk about the skills individually. The best PvE skill in the game, besides Rising Shot. No, really though, the best DPS skill, over time, everything, if you want to take all things considered, is Fire Pillar. Fire Pillar has the longest time it fires. Of course, you can't get hit or else it screws everything up. But the cooldown on it is not bad considering the amount of damage it does. Obviously, you'll usually be in a team format, so you personally won't need to worry about getting hit. But just watch as I not only dodge attacks, until it ends. When it ends, you have to be very careful. If you end in the middle of enemies like that, you're probably going to get hit. So I got a little lucky there and did not get hit. You can dodge enemies by changing Y-axis while you're using it. Enemies, you may go slower forward and backward, but you go just about the same speed when you're changing Y-axis. See there, I got a little bleed action going on here. That's what I was warning about. Now, one enemy, how do I deal with this? Because I could use all my sub-weapons. Well, you see, using PvP, once again, comes to the rescue. We can use the permanent on the ground here with Steep Slide, which is really boring. Or, if you do let them stand up, you can go ahead and use your sub-weapons on him. But when he gets too close, just bounce him. I mean, he's more dangerous on the ground than in the air, right? So, let's just not let this guy land. I always miss that slide. Anyway, it goes pretty much forever. You could throw in a barbecue on the ground. Oh, not on this guy. But now he is super armored. This is a common problem. Do we have any skills to deal with this? Well, I'm glad you asked. This EX skill is excellent against things that decide to go super armor on you. It is true that you can get more freeze time out of the level 2 than the level 3. You'll notice that it lasts 3 seconds. He broke in 3 seconds. On a level 2 it's 2.5, but it still lasts 3 seconds. Basically a net 2 seconds where you get to join in on the fun. The only reason I don't have that is, 1, I'm a damage stacker, so obviously I wouldn't have that. The other reason, besides just the extra damage, is that I'm in a lot of groups with people who don't they don't just sit there and, you know, wait for me to be finished. They'll break the ice. So if other people are going to break the ice, then you might as well, you know, just cast a longer freeze for the time that it is. The other reason is gives you kind of the freedom, like I'm doing here, to change axis. A lot of people use the rank 2 EX Fire Pillar, the freeze one, to stay on one axis forever because they get that second hit and they're so concerned about it. While that is excellent and has its times where that would be so much better than my level 3, this is one of those times it's not, because I can change axes with it and get all of these people frozen. Now in a team setting this would make a lot more sense, because in a team setting that would be, you know, all of them disabled. My team could wreck them up while I'm just disabling everybody. So enough on that. We talked about Fire Pillar. As you can see, Fire Pillar is insanely effective. I have enemies that I have killed, like that enemy, without using a second sub-weapon. So I finished every enemy in sight and was able to kill another just because I still had it going. The next one, also awesome, is Gatling EX. Gatling EX is amazing. The Gatling EX, aside from it just being a really high damage scaling move, Gatling is really high damage scale now. The 230 has made it worth it to get it to max rank. On top of that, you also have this nifty little penetration. Now the thing about it is, you're probably thinking, alright, I have, you know, 30% penetration on 20 bullets, that should be 26 bullets. It is not 26 bullets, contrary to what you would think. Let me show you here, this is a small pack, but even on this small pack of enemies, I just got 118 hits. Each of those bullets does the damage of a Fire Pillar. So the Fire Pillar here, you can see, did less damage than that Gatling. Gatling has a 4-second cooldown. Flamethrower has a 16-second cooldown. So as you can see, Gatling EX has made Gatling the greatest move in the game for us right now. Better than a Fire Pillar. Did anybody ever think that was going to happen? So let's talk about sub-weapon cycle. Since we got a boss here, a little mini boss. We can go ahead and get into that. A sub-weapon cycle is about never breaking your sub-weapons and just constantly firing them. I like to start them with, you know what, this is actually not a great place to do this. Let's talk about something else, because on the next one I know I'm going to have a ton of enemies with good health to use it on. So this particular guy is being annoying. One thing we can do is take advantage of the fact that he's going to be off-axis, drop a nuke on him. That's great for a group of enemies. It does that couple-second electrocution, but you probably won't be using that in PvE. Your buddies will like it, though, because they'll come down and beat him up. And as you can see, this is why I was talking about that paralyzed cannon. Look at how many times I stunned this guy in just this little fight, and I swear it has a higher rate on X attacks than on non-X attacks. Like, sub-weapons don't seem to proc it as much. But anyway, the best one, you just can't get a beat on him. Let's say he's just moving around too much, and your steep slide, even your steep slide Hail Marys aren't really doing what you want. Extruder is the best skill to get somebody out in front of you at the perfect range to unleash your sub-weapons. Great way to catch tons of enemies, too. Don't underestimate Extruder against crowds. I used to call it my S-cannon, because, kind of as a joke, every time I fired it, I would get an S-rank. In Shadow Labs and stuff like that, this is really true in the Shadow Labyrinth. You freaking fire this Extruder, and you could be at an F, and you'll be at an S rank. If you're at an S rank, it'll go double S, triple S. So keep that in mind if you're trying to get higher roads. The Extruder on a ton of enemies is a great way to do it. Now, I don't really want to waste a lot of my bullets here while these guys are spawning, so I'm just going to go ahead and do my MP, save MP moves here. X attacks, some backsteps. I should not be in the corner. This is very important. If you're going to use the X attacks, don't put your back against the wall. You need at least one backstep worth of room. Let's do the Gatling again to show you. Just emphasize how much damage this thing does. 91 hits. 91 hits at 5,000 a hit. This thing is incredible DPS. And, keep in mind, it's cooldown. It's the first move you learn as a launcher. I mean, that is nuts. So alright, we got skeletons here. Skeletons are annoying. I promise I will show you my sub-weapon cycle. But let's go ahead and talk about teammates while these skeletons are spawning, because they're annoying. They jump, and if they start hitting you in mass, you will get stuck. I found a great move against them is Fire Pillar. You notice that they all turn super armor when they jump. Well, not when they land. So Fire Pillar actually will... Ooh, it didn't there. Somebody must have got me from the Y-axis. Better heal up. Extruder works great, obviously. This is going to be hilarious. So, Extruder awesomeness there. Do love it. Do love it. Know when to use it. Unleash it when you should. Dude, this guy's going to be super armor. What a jerk. Alright. So, teams. Let's talk about teammates real quick. Asuras make the best teammates, in my opinion. They are great tanks. They have Quaker. They have Agni Pentacle. They have Wave Wheel Slasher. They have tons of evasion. They have even that one that they don't like so much, the Revenge Hit. I can't remember what its name is right now. But they have all kinds of great skills to keep stuff forever stun locked. And that's really good. I mean, you want things stun locked in front of you, because then you just get to go all out on it.